Minnesota, and it's kind of they're all about this. What's it called? I almost said the site, but the Cy-Hawk game that's coming up here next week or week after. But Iowa and Iowa State, the state shutdown.
I got an echo.
Yeah, that's right. Is it on your end or you got YouTube open? Yeah, that's right. Is it on your end or?
Oh yeah,
that's what usually
YouTube.
Yeah.
I saw your little post of, hey, we're going live at 8:30.
Yeah. I saw that you put a great photo choice. Oh, we got Lou Rock on. What's up, homies? The great man Genie. Yeah, way better than last week. Unless he comes out, if he does bring in the nunchucks out, we're in trouble. We got Hitman, we got James, Best Eye, and this guy right here, James, great eye. Raw.
We got an all-star crowd showing up.
I told you, you're going to know most people. This is I like doing this because a lot of peers. What's up, brothers? We got Ads Collections. This is a new name, Ads. I don't know if I've talked to you before.
ADs, Aaron Davis.
ADs, okay. So welcome to the channel. I hope you enjoy yourself and enjoy your. Please comment as much as we can. As you can see, we have Bart here. He's going to be talking about football. We had the 49ers Dallas. I hope everybody got to see the picture, and you know how hard that was for me to put that up because I wept like a little baby on the floor that day on the catch. Yeah, we're gonna be talking a little bit of football and how he hobbies. And hopefully we got Dallas 49ers. I found out he's a Maryland graduate. I'm a University of Virginia guy, so we got some old school ACC rivalry.
Fear the Turtle.
That's right. Fear the Turtle. I am friends with the Under Armour guys too. I've hung out with them up in Maryland. And he has a whole bunch of PSA cards, and I have a whole bunch of STC behind me. So we got a lot of clashing going on today. But we're going to be friends by the end of all of this. So you said you are a Maryland guy. Is that where you grew up, Bart?
Yeah. My dad's was a military guy too, and he retired in D.C. area, Andrews Air Force Base, which is where they keep the presidential plane and all that crap. Mm-hmm. And so he retired when I was 6 years old or something, and we just stayed in the area.
Right.
And, so grew up through there, went to College Park for school, and then went on my own way after that.
Right. Cool. So, and after that, you became So after I was just finished watching you and JT, which. For the second time, because that's very good. If y'all have not seen that, it's a very good. I like what JT's doing with that interview process.
Did a good job.
Yes, but you're a Nationals fan, which I can understand. Were you a Baltimore Orioles fan before that, or
sort of?
How did that work?
I went to Orioles games as a kid, right? Mm-hmm. And Cal Ripken was all over everything, every commercial, every car sales thing you could, poster, billboard, whatever. He was all over the place. So I was a Cal Ripken fan, but just something about Baltimore didn't quite connect with me because I know everybody says it's in the same state, but when you're on the East Coast, 45 minutes an hour away is forever because you can be halfway across Virginia in that same time frame. So it's just different pockets of everything. So I never really connected with it too much. I followed the Giants for a while, actually, because I was such a Niners fan.
Okay.
And it's easy to jump over there when Barry Bonds is just crushing everything, right?
Right.
And I was more of a casual baseball fan because I wasn't raised on it or anything like that. I was finding it myself. But once they became a pitching team around the same time as the Nationals started, it was an easier conversion as I was kept leaning over towards the Nationals, went to some games every time I'd come home for a visit. And then when Bryce Harper, hoopla, and everything kicked off, and I jumped on full all the way, and happy to have at least one local team that I root for.
Were you lucky enough to go to JFK and watch any of them in the football stadium before they switched?
Yeah, I went to 3 Redskins 49ers games.
I'm talking about baseball. When baseball was playing.
Well, I never saw them in RFK.
Okay.
I did what is it, the Old Vet Stadium, and then Camden Yards when it popped up.
Yeah, when the Nationals first come down, I went to the first game, and that was against the Mets. I'm a huge Mets fan, and oddly enough, I was an Expos fan when I was a little kid because of Gary Carter. So as a Mets fan, I have our family loves the Nationals, so we go quite a bit of Nationals games when I was up there.
I didn't live in the area when they were playing at RFK, so watched it from afar. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I liked RFK. Had a lot of cool history in there, and it wasn't a bad seat in the spot because it was just this big bowl. You couldn't miss anything if you were sitting there. So I did go to the very first MLS Cup there, though. That was pretty cool.
They're still playing that there, right? Or did they build their own stadium?
Yeah, I'm not real sure.
I'm not sure either.
I'm gonna get that totally wrong if I try to answer.
Yeah, that's why I asked you. I think maybe one of us.
We're DC United anyway, right?
Yeah. So James is asking. That's my point I was getting to. So you went with the Nationals, then you went all the way to the left coast to get your football team. Is it just because we talked about it before we came on? Seems like football seems to be kind of what the big teams were when you were a kid. Is that what happened?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess I always naturally gravitated towards sports. I didn't have a family that was pushing that or watching it much themselves. But I just remember somehow knowing and being a fan of all the big teams back in the 80s. Like somehow I always got a sweet spot for SMU in football and like just weird things like that.
Wow.
And so up until, I don't know, as a kid, I knew actually who the Bengals were first. I remember playing catch with myself in the backyard. I didn't have a kid brother with me or anything, so I'd throw the ball up, and that was Boomer Esiason, and Eddie Brown was catching it. And maybe because Boomer Esiason was a Maryland guy.
You're say maybe because it's Boomer.
Super Bowl 23 is the first game that I ever remembered seeing. The Niners beat the Bengals. Jerry Rice was the MVP of that one. So, and then the very next year they repeat and just blow the doors off the Broncos. And so that cemented it for me right then and there. I got lucky because my father originally was born in Northern California. I didn't really know that or anything, but he kind of grabbed a hold of my 49er fandom because of that. He was like, okay, I can get along with this. I grew up around some of that. And so he just kind of helped that a little along too. And, but it always helps to win, right, as a kid. So that's where it went, and I stuck with him ever since.
You got Rick here saying go Niners. Hi, Rick.
Hey, Rick.
Then she blinded me with refractors. Andy, hey, Bart, are you optimistic that Trey Lance can be the man for the 49ers?
I have to be, right? I have to be.
Or take off the sweatshirt.
We have a very good team otherwise. I did not like – I hate bailing on quarterbacks the way teams do nowadays. I just don't like doing that. Yes, after so many years, Jimmy G was, joined the league in 2014 and still not a Pro Bowl guy. So I get it. You got to always kind of be looking for the next thing if you don't have a Pro Bowl quarterback. But he didn't do too poorly. And Trey Lance, his last preseason outing was pretty rough. The athleticism there and shit, I mean – the team around him is there for sure. I do not remember any time recent where we had stars everywhere else on the team, right? We got Deebo Samuel and Trent Williams on offense, and Kittle, and then we got Fred Warner on defense and Bosa, just big time superstars. So, as long as he's just not handing the ball out free to the other team, we should be okay, and hopefully he can grow into it.
Latrell Sprewell is the American dream. Hi, Latrell. Second week here. Glad to see you come back. Might have been here before, but I know I saw you last week. Hi, Bart. I'm a huge fan of your channel.
Thanks.
That's nice of you. If you love PSA,
a couple times on some videos, I've seen him.
Yeah, PSA cards. This is the man, and all just sports. That's why he's on here with me today. I asked Robert to reach out for me. Nats man has a little back issue tonight. I invited him, but he took some medication and he was scared he'd fall asleep again. I don't know if you know that story, Bart, but he fell asleep on one of these. It was great. Oh, here we go. Rick wants you to Bart, please tell me Gina Rice is the wide receiver goat, not Don Hudson.
Hudson might be the third greatest receiver of all time. I don't know about
Who's Taylor's two?
John Mangini's all over Hudson is number one, and for his era and several eras after him, he's right. But I got Rice and Moss up above him right now.
Well, he's been preaching.
Mangini will want to fight with those words. He's
been preaching here lately how you can't compare quarterbacks in each generation.
No, you can't.
The game has changed. I know they can't because of the stadiums, but I wish they would just widen the field to the CFL width, where you just was it 2.5 yards on either side, just because their players are so big and fast. Don't do anything else. Just kind of widen it, just to give guys a little bit of room to play.
We're gonna be real bad, right? Because we already we're giving them an extra game to rack up stats and stuff for now.
Yeah,
if they're throwing 700 yards a game or something, it's going to get real carried away. But yeah, you can't compare eras and stuff like that. Montana never even had a close to a 4,000 yard season. You know, I mean, these guys are getting 5,000s with ease nowadays. So
Rick said he's got it recorded. Hey Rick, I saw you last night. You were on the live. I saw you when James. As James said, he loves your channel as well. Yeah, they changed the rules. Yeah, you can't with the DBs. And I was listening to a comedian one day, and he was sitting there talking about how people don't like baseball because it's not enough scoring, so they love football. And he goes, really, all it is like, oh, somebody won 27-21. That's 3-1.
Yeah, that's true. It's very true.
Yeah. So, you know, it's kind of funny. Got Latrell. He wants to know if you ever come to the Chantilly show.
Oh, I don't live locally. I'm a military guy, so I haven't lived anywhere near there for quite some time. I'm actually probably moving into the DC area next summer, so I will put Chantilly on the list because I hear folks talking about that one all the time. But I currently live in Tampa, so I'm not near that right now.
Yeah, Chantilly. That's probably my after the national. That's my second must. I go in October show. Usually they get some of the hockey players there for that one for signing. Yeah. I love some hockey too. So
they do that one pretty often, right? That's a regular show.
Three times: spring, summer, fall.
Okay, nice.
So I think it's April, for sure, July, and October. And
I'll probably feel obligated to go to all of them because I'm not usually living around any shows. So
yeah, and then you got the Philly show, which you wouldn't be too terrible. I'm gonna go to Philly, I hope, in the first weekend of December. Let's see. Bart, how's the vintage football card market up, steady, or down? You're jumping the gun, Rick, but thank you. We'll go ahead and jump to that right now. The vintage card market. We see baseball has kind of gone up, gone down a little bit, leveled out. The big names have still stayed high. We don't talking about that stupid card they got sold last night. It's just not even worth my time talking about it. That's a whole different. That's when you talk about that. That's art in a museum now. That's not.
It's an artifact, yeah.
Yeah, that's not what we do.
Yeah.
So,
although that was a 9.5 from SGC, and there's 3 PSA 10s out there somewhere.
Right, and Carlos has a very good video he put out last night, late or early this morning, talking about that. So he's wondering, because so many people are fixated on that number, if one of those pop up, what is that one going to be at? And being I know you're in here, Bobbles, just being an SGC 9.5, and somebody just says the word PSA 10. I'm just wondering, will it go up for much more? But at that type of card, I don't think like Carlos said, I don't think the slab really means much.
Yeah, no, it's something that high end. They're scrutinizing the card itself for sure. So, as long as there's not some weird grade, but if they're close, they're going all after aesthetics and
Right. Yeah.
With a microscope on that thing.
Right. I saw it up close. It's a beautiful card. It doesn't matter. It looks really good. Yeah. But getting back to what Rick was asking, I know football's a fickle thing anyway. So how have you seen that market here during these crazy times?
Well, I think it's coming along with everything else and headed back downward. It's just a mixed bag that we'll always see when we're buying right now or selling, I guess. But so many people bought at such high points in the market that they have not come to grips with taking the losses.
Right.
And so the bins still aren't there. I was making a couple offers on cards before I got on here, and people are countering. And I'm like, I'm just looking for the best deal. There's, bins below yours, but people are just not willing to take losses on stuff that they paid. But if you're going after auctions, it's a buyer's market to me across the board. Auctions are just tougher for me because I like to pick up so many things. I can't have, too many bids out at one time because I might wind up winning way too many things at one time. But
I think I've heard you talk about that where you've actually won like two of the same card at once or something. Was it you talking?
There was one where I was playing a strategy game or whatever, and I got good deals on both of them, but I ended up winning them. So
yeah, I've done that, but it's kind of whatever.
I did that with a Koufax rookie. Actually, I sold.
Really?
I did. I won a 2 and a 3. I think. Right. I think mine's a 3. Where's it at? Yeah. And so I sold the 2 to Mike O. A week later or something like that. He saw that video and popped in, and I've done it with a couple, but it doesn't usually happen that way. But most of the time, it's just trying not to win too many cards at one time, right? Like the bank account is only what it is. Right. Nothing more magical than that.
Yeah. So I have to address the Bart is a football card expert. That's why I'm glad to have him on. Why I want him on. Him and the other Scott. Sorry, Big Sky are the football goats of the. Hey, that's why I'm asking questions. I don't have much to. I'm picking up Micah Parsons at like 20 cents right now, so I'm happy with that because he's not a quarterback, even though he's one of the better defensive players in the league.
Good time.
Nobody collects defense.
I just picked up a Diggs rookie not too long ago too.
Yeah,
good time for that. Those couple-year-old prisms are going back down if you're paying attention.
Well, I was at the Hickory card show here, which is a pretty big show here in Carolina, and I was going through. I can't call them dollar boxes anymore. Whatever the affordable boxes, whatever you want to call them. And I was picking them up left and right, and it was crazy cheap. And I'm like, how are they buying these Prism boxes for as much as they are, cracking them, and me buying the defensive rookie of the year at like $1?
That's part of where the people aren't willing to take the losses right now.
Right.
I was looking at Prism boxes, about an hour ago for the last couple of years, and they're, it's $600 something for a retail box or a hobby box, and you could there was one, it was about $600 and it was 24 cards in there. Like, I have to hope that somehow there's multiple Derrick Henry PSA 10s sitting in that box.
Right.
To even come close. It just doesn't make sense, but people aren't willing to take that loss.
Right.
And so it's just going to sit there because I'm not doing it. But.
Right. And I mean, it's with football, it's just, it's almost, I don't know. To me, I kind of got out of it. I sold all my football because I'm a big dude. That's why my name's Big Sky. I played offensive lineman, a little defense, rotated in, whatever. But, I like collecting the big guys. I like collecting people that reflect me.
Yeah, sure.
It's hard to get those guys. And Dallas has always been known for having a great offensive line. So we always have a great offensive lineman.
Especially recently.
Right, to collect. So, and that's the reason why I went with Dallas when I started. I wore Ed Too Tall. I wore 72 for Ed Too Tall. That was my guy. So I kind of got out a little frustration on my part because, the only players that were worth anything were the quarterbacks, and I don't resell by any means, but I just got kind of, it just frustrated me when it came to
I could see that. That's where football struggles, especially competing with baseball. Is baseball, at least everybody that's out in the field gets a chance at the plate, get some stats, you get some ribbies or a batting average. Maybe they hit homers or something, but not most of them. But that offensive lineman ain't picking up a stat for nothing, right?
Right.
We don't even find a way to put some analytics on the back of his card so that he can make himself feel good. And so, it's tough for the fat guys out there.
And the best offensive linemen out there are the ones you don't hear about the whole game. Don't get his name announced. Because the offensive lineman only gets his name announced if he missed a block or he's holding.
Yeah. So, very few offenses like pull the guards or something like that where you get to see him pummel some guy 5 yards into the backfield. So, you don't get to see it. Yeah. But I would say, this is my plug to you then, since you're an SGC guy and stuff, that's a good opportunity to pick up those raw, fat boy cards and sub them. If they're not value there, then don't pay the premiums, just sub them yourself. Because you got Zach Martin and Tyron Smith and stuff like that. Those are Dallas has got a long lineage of big boys.
And I have those. I mean, I get the autos for next to nothing, and I have them. I keep them and I grab them, and people probably look at me funny. Well, everybody collects what they want to collect. Nobody should be looking at anybody funny. Let me run through Clay. What's up, buddy? Clay Phillips, Colorado Sports Dude. Glad to see you back, brother. Missed you last week. So, and then we got a Hitman, great comment. That's why I collect Darren Vogelbach. Yeah, me too. I loved him. I was like, I don't know why the Mets got him, but I'm so glad we got the John Kruk 2.0. It's awesome. And man, he is smashing the ball. Yeah, we got bobbles. I actually he traded a baseball card for a kicker, but it was a good kicker. It's the Ravens kicker, so we had a good laugh at that. How is the Trey? Rick wants to know how is the Trey Lance prices?
He's all the hype, right? So they're not cheap. They haven't come down just yet, so I keep my eyeballs on it. But until he starts performing and stuff like that, I don't go all in on those guys. I actually wait for most folks. Now, if I got a rookie on my team, like a Fred Warner a couple years ago, he was my starting middle linebacker from week 1. Okay, I'm going to pay attention a little bit more to that guy. That's your quarterback on defense. And to start at that position as a rookie, that says something. He's going somewhere. And I looked it up on Beckett, and he had a pretty small rookie set as it came through the years. So I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to pick all of those up. Because, when there are only 15 to 20 of them, and it's not all the madness of every SP patch auto thing out of 25 that you can think of. And they're not a quarterback. It's helpful there. So I do that. But I haven't picked up much Trey Lance. I think I'm maybe 8 to 10 cards into it. But I think the best one I've got right now, this is my only SGC card.
Gold?
It's a Gold Stars. And this is one of the most beautiful cards, this print run or whatever the hell. I just think it's awesome. So out of 25, it will get cracked. PSA.
You said I was an SGC guy. I'm not an SGC guy. I'm an everything guy. I collect the card, man. I have GMA, SGC. I'm not sent to GMA. I've only sent to SGC, PSA, and CSG. But I don't have, like, that's all I only want. GMA, that's all I have. I got 2 GMAs because I wanted the rookie hockey players that were in it.
No, I appreciate them all. I'm just so far into it at this point.
Oh, I understand why.
PSA, and the registry is basically, my inventory. So
and I told you before we started, I wonder why our paths haven't crossed, and I say, well, they kind of have. You just haven't known it. This man is one of the ones that I have to blame and also thank for getting me started in the registry. Full steam ahead because I just didn't know what it was, and I learned from him and still learning from this whole community. It's been great.
Always love to hear that. I've been that positive or negative influence, however you want to look at it, for many folks, and I love it every time. But it's awesome. The registry's great. Gets a little competitive, so be prepared for some of that. But it's a good time.
I've been having fun.
It's a great way to look at your cards too, right? It's
so
you scan them in and stuff. It's awesome.
Yeah, so I have the getting off topic just for a second. I have the Gary Carter. I have like 3 or 4. I just started the autograph one of Gary Carter, and then I got a Johnny Bench playing days, and then I just used the Clemente to collect the Clemente run because I like to get them in a little bit better grade for a price. So I'm not sticking myself with just PSA on that one.
That's smart.
So I kind of went anywhere I could go. What's your best card of Bosa? He's a monster. If he can stay healthy, he's a future Hall of Famer.
Yeah. I am a big fan of his. I got a bunch. I don't know what my best is. I obviously got his Contenders auto slabbed up. I think I got a 9 on that one.
I did buy. I bought this one cheap. George Kittle.
I know it's cool, yeah.
I had to say to one of my friends that he's in Iowa because he's from Iowa.
I have a Bosa National Treasures auto that's I'm not sure what it's numbered out of. It's at least 99 or less. Might be the 25 to be honest with you. And it's got a chunk of a ball that actually you can read the Wilson part of the letters on there, and then a patch in there. I've just been a big fan of that one. I'm trying to get the Debo to match that one, but everybody wants crazy money for Debo right now.
So do you in the NFL this year?
Oh, and I have a rookie Kaboom as well. That's probably my best one. Sorry. I got a rookie Kaboom on PSA 9. So I just picked that up, actually.
Does he have two different Kabooms?
Of Bosa?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got 2.
So in NFL this year, do you see a team that's going to maybe – because in NFL, this is the one thing I do like. If you were in last place last year, you play a last place schedule this year. That's why the league so it's not easy, but you see teams go from last to first a little bit more in football. Do you see anybody like popping back up? Because I know the Ravens had a problem going for that. They had a first place record to play last year, first place teams. And I'm wondering if, is anybody you see popping out that had a good – because this year's draft wasn't as great as some past ones.
The draft was pretty bad this year.
Yeah.
Actually, it was pretty bad.
I call that a depth – I always call those the depth drafts. They're drafting for needs, not necessarily the best player, and drafting for depth on a depth chart. Yeah. And having people – and it's not a bad year to be a rookie free agent either, to wait and just pick the team that matches for where you can go. I actually had friends that did that one year, years ago. But do you see anybody jumping out this year in the NFL? Not really a sleeper, but maybe somebody, not one of the, not the Chiefs, not Tampa. Yeah.
As far as teams go, I don't see anybody making a surprise at this point. I think there's definitely going to be probably a little bit better parity with the top tier. There's going to be 12, 15 teams that just beat the crap out of each other and a lot closer. I don't think anybody's walking away with anything. Or, I don't think anybody's going 15-2 or 14-3 like that. So I think everybody's just going to beat the crap out of each other. And if somebody can squeak out, 2 key wins against their key rival at, 2017 or something 2 times, that's going to make the difference in the big picture, because like you mentioned there, those Chiefs and the Chargers, if the Raiders keep their act together, those are going to be all close games in that division type stuff. Hopefully us and the Rams, maybe us and the Cardinals. Our Cardinals are just always over the map, so I never know where to trust them or not. But those types of things, those 3-point games, which swings. But I just don't. Again, the draft wasn't strong, so it's not like somebody's just gonna, overwhelm you. And I don't know. It just seems the last couple of years injuries have just thrown everything to the win too. But
yeah,
for your point from the draft, I guess that works out from a hobby standpoint since we're still getting 2021 set out. Like we don't need to worry about the new stuff and the new guys coming out yet because none of them are any good. So we just keep collecting the brand new stuff from last year.
Well, a little bit of I guess conspiracy theory from Mike and Ty the other day, which was maybe that's why they held some back because they knew the draft wasn't going to be so great. But
I doubt it, but it worked out, right?
It did, and I just think it's the printers is the thing because to me, I think it's I think I'm like you. I don't think anybody's going to run away. I think it's going to be a lot of 9 and 7, or you can't have 8 and 8 anymore because they had to mess up. Because I was going to say I like your quick math. You did 15 and 2 to start with. I would have did 15 and 1 because I would have, or so I'm still on the 16 games in my brain.
Tough transition,
yeah. So I'm just looking forward to it. So, do you see any player on the rise that because it kind of as a guy that's on the outside looking in, I could be really off for the quarterback for the Chiefs, for him not winning last year. Did it not? I know his stuff didn't fall off the map by any means, but I mean, it just seemed like he kind of got his prices started going down, and I haven't heard a lot about him. And this guy was the face of the NFL going up into the season. So, I mean, that's why I was talking about the NFL so fickle. And then you got the Super Bowl champion quarterback. Really, nobody's talking about. I don't know. I know he's been around for a while, but it's and he was in Detroit, so that hurts him too. But when it comes to that, is there any players like is going to jump up? Do you think? I know he's got a hurt elbow right now, but I think that's some of preseason stuff. But do you see any players that are going to be jumping on the map this year?
Who's got the hurt elbow?
The quarterback for what's his face? He came from Detroit.
Stafford. Okay, yeah.
Sore elbow. I mean, but when it comes to preseason, things I think get blown out of proportion, so the guys don't have to suit up for the games. I've noticed that in the last few years, especially when I follow. Because I don't really watch the games in preseason. I go and start reading all the scouting reports and all that stuff. But
I would say I was on board with thinking that Stafford was a Hall of Famer before he won that Super Bowl. Now, there are not a whole lot of people that probably agree with that, but he was on pace for 60,000 yards and 400 touchdowns before he jumped over to the Rams.
Right.
So to do stuff like that as a Detroit Lion is pretty ridiculous. So to toss in a Super Bowl, that's pretty legit as well.
The Rams are on that. Is the guy he threw all that to was Calvin Johnson. I mean, somebody had to throw it to him, and that guy was Stafford. So, and Stafford was a great college quarterback too.
He was. Yeah.
So I'm with you on that. I was on the fence, but now I think that got him in. Go ahead. And he's funny in a commercial. Go ahead.
And then for Mahomes, I mean, his prices on cards were just otherworldly.
Right.
They were trying to give him Tom Brady status somehow, just so fast it was ridiculous. So he needed to come back to earth a good bit. Right. At a minimum, if he just stays playing, he's going to be almost another Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is starting to throw extra MVPs out of nowhere at the end of his career, which is pretty cool. But
right.
The Aaron Rodgers of 2 years ago is what Mahomes is building himself into.
Right.
Numbers wise and stuff. We'll see. Tyreek Hill is a big loss. Now they have to actually scheme a little bit better to win, but they still got some key players there, and Mahomes is still an absolute top quarterback. So, I don't. Other than the young rookies and maybe second year guys that, will just kind of pop out and surprise us. I don't think there's going to be too many guys that you just come out of nowhere year 3 through 5 or anything like that. But we are in the zone where some folks will kind of cement their futures. I was looking at Derrick Henry is one of those. I know he's got all the hype and everything right now, but he's actually only got 3, maybe 3.5 good seasons right now, and only 2 Pro Bowls under his belt. It just doesn't seem that way because he's got a couple of, ESPN top 10s in a 2,000-yard season, which, no
Superhuman
discredit to
season.
him whatsoever.
Yeah.
But
that 2,000-yard season was.
When you're talking all-time stuff, they still got to put some other things together.
Right.
If Dalvin Cook throws in another 1,300 yards or something like that, he becomes starting, an all-time talk type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's a tough one. Actually just picked up a prism of his because those came back down to reason. So
he's having a problem. He's had a problem staying on the field the last.
Yeah, he has not put together a full season yet. So he's got a couple of 14-game seasons, and that's it. That's his high point. But he's 4.7 yards a carry, and that's real, and that does translate across eras and stuff like that. And Henry is 4.9 for a career, which is pretty crazy stuff. So I like to look at those types of things if they're getting those yards and high yards per carry, and maybe a little bit lower mileage than we think, right? Like was it Najee Harris? He could have a great second year or something, but he needs to get more yards per carry because he's below 4 per carry. At 1,200 yards his rookie season is amazing, but you need to be in 4.5 range to really do damage long term. So we'll see, but we got a couple out there, but it's tough because, the longevity, just like baseball, right? Like you guys can be doing just phenomenal. And then you look at the math and you're like, there's no way this guy's barely going to sniff 2,200 hits or something if he stays till he's 39,
right.
So when you put the real numbers up, it does get a little tricky. So we got some guys that can take some big steps, but we'll see how it goes.
We got Dave Midlife Crisis. How you doing, Dave? He's talking about the Jets. Is that arena football? Right?
I'm excited for the Jets. I'm not gonna lie. It sucks to see Zach Wilson have that surgery and everything. Mm-hmm. But Sauce Gardner, I'm stupid hype about. I hope everything works out for that guy. I want to see him high step into the end zone and everything, or whatever he celebrates with.
Right.
You got a shutdown corner named Sauce. I am on board.
We got Carlos talking about the Winnipeg Jets and the CFL. You missed me. I brought up the CFL field earlier. I want them to widen the field to the CFL, not lengthen, because that's an abomination, but widen. And in the CFL, the way they play, taking away a down, that's just they should add a down to those guys so they can maybe score. My last kind of like football, just using what I have and what I have here. For non-quarterback collecting for somebody out there, and they want and I know this is, I'm not going to ask you to put the top 5 players on the list. I don't do that.
You got to put flames in the background.
Just for somebody that's looking for excitement, and every collector wants to have good cards in there.
Yeah.
For even in vintage, like if you look in non-quarterback, do you go running back, wide receiver? And I know the further you go back, the more running back. But even like in the modern day, is there a wide receiver out there, I should ask, that holds the hobby's interest and you can, collect and feel like you're doing something with?
For wide receiver? Well, 2 guys are going to have key second years to get that started, because wide receiver numbers career-wise have to be real legitimate to be an all-timer, right? It's like Julio Joneses of the worlds and D-Hops. They're kind of falling off, and all of a sudden they look like Isaac Bruce from the 90s, which isn't too exciting from a career standpoint. So I'm a big Justin Jefferson fan from the Vikings. And then if Joe Burrow can stay moving, Jamar Chase is fun to watch. We'll see how Miami's offense goes. If they're willing to throw a lot, and then they've got Tyreek and Jalen Waddle out there, and so Waddle can do some damage. There's 3 right there.
But in hobby-wise, wide receivers, even the great Jerry Rice, his rookie card exploded. I think that was one of the first rookie cards in football to me to really him and Montana kind of exploded at similar same time, which it should. But then it came tumbling down rather quickly at the same time. So is there a wide receiver? Because it's just hard. You look at like 80s football, and you look at like the Steelers' great teams. You have Stallworth, and those guys. None of those. Nobody cares. Wide receiver. Dallas had great teams. Nobody cares. Michael Irvin and all them. So that's why I was kind of asking, like, this is it's spot. It just is a black hole for the hobby.
It is. I mean, I don't say black hole because they're solid, right? They're just solid bodies. They're not. You're not gonna get somebody's prism and all of a sudden it's going to do Pat Mahomes prism type things with values and stuff like that. Because, what you're really looking for, what coaches are looking for are, get off the line and crisp route running and smooth catches. And, they're not looking for the glitz and the glamour. And, your best ones don't bring that. But then the hype isn't there for it, right? So Moss was the last one to really bring any of that type of stuff because he's just leaping over people.
I was just thinking the same.
Without, and they tried with OBJ. He just, didn't have it in his head to commit to the craft and to commit football and forget about the rest of the stuff. And I am blaming him for that. You throw a couple $100 million at me or whatever he made, I want to get distracted a little bit too, right? But he brought the last bit of that hype when he made that catch, and all of a sudden we all lost our minds like he was next greatest thing.
And that was against who?
He hadn't been doing those things for that long yet. But that's the only way they really stand out at some level like that, hobby wise, where all of a sudden you're searching for that guy, his auto or whatever, or they're even making your auto, right?
That's right.
So it's just a tough one.
So going back to Rick has a question for you, and he's thanking me for having you on, and I'm very fortunate. What's a couple of rare vintage football cards are on your wish list? Maybe something that you never see in auction, never comes up for auction.
Well, for those that follow me, I did a big sell off about a year and a half ago, so I'm picking those things back up. And so I got two more 35 Chickles that I got to pick back up. And I think that's Dutch Clark and Ken Strong, I believe. Those are coming up less and less nowadays. And so they're tough to find in any grade. So honestly, if I find, a 2 or above without a bullet hole, I'm going to be paying attention pretty significantly there. Other than that, I guess I'm thankful for football that it's not quite what baseball is. And so this stuff is somewhat attainable, even when it does finally pop up. It's lower pop as all get out compared to baseball, but the percentage of collectors is way smaller too. So the relative disparity kind of evens out collectors to pop reports and stuff. And so I'm, in 48 Leafs, if I'm missing one of those and those pop up like a Van Buren, I've been looking for a Bobby Lane for friggin' ever. I lost a couple recently. I shouldn't have, but those are the types of ones that I'm always, all of a sudden I'll stop what I'm doing and focus on those if they pop up.
Now with vintage football, please correct me if I'm wrong. I'd love to be corrected. They haven't done those in continuous years, right? There were years missed and
tons
things like that.
There's very little compared to baseball. So you have, I think there's some card in a set, I forget the name of it, in 1888, and then there's some 1894 Mayo cut plugs, but that's just a bunch of dudes from Harvard and Yale and stuff like that. And then we didn't have a real set until we had a couple in Sport Kings, like a Jim Thorpe and stuff from 33 and Red Grange. But then 35 National Chickle was the first set. And then we don't get anything again until 48 Leaf and 48 Bowman.
Right.
And then we skipped a year. I'm still screwy on 49 Leaf and what the hell that's all about. But then from 50 on, we're good. But there's just the pre-war is just so small,
spotty.
There's nothing that we call tobacco or anything like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess that was that. you asked the better question or answered the better question than I could ask. No tobacco. I guess that's was what I was getting at. Also, one other question with Panini losing the rights to doing it. Do you think Topps get going? Because it looks like if they don't buy Panini, which I don't see why they would, but if they stay with Topps, are you upset that you won't see Panini anymore, or are you happy that Topps you'll start seeing like Topps Stadium Club again and Topps Chrome?
Yeah, I hope it's Topps. I'm a Topps based guy. I've been that way forever. Those are the boxes that I could always kind of afford when shiny things were happening in the 2000s and stuff. I was still chipping away at Topps bases and stuff, and and the Chromes are good as well. So I hope it's Topps. Just there's a heritage to that type of stuff. When you're a collector for the long haul, it's not all about what I can get this year. It's kind of what piece can I get this year that goes along with the piece from the year before, from that piece 5 years ago, and things like that. And Topps does a much better job of bringing some of those things together, or Prism does not. I'm bought into Prism a little bit more, not necessarily pun intended, but a little bit. But now that there is some longevity with them, 5 years into it or whatever. But I was all in on Topps and did not want to lose the Topps and everything like that happened. So I'll be excited for it. But if Fanatics buys Prism and they issue both, great. But there has been some awesome Topps sets. We haven't had Stadium Club in quite some time for football, but all those others, I was a Topps guy. I'll make mince no words about that one. I got a giant just Topps rookie display right out of the screen here. Of all those key ones, because that's just you associate with what you grow up with, and Topps rookies in the 80s and 90s are really like a wheelhouse for me. So they're near and dear, and I'll keep looking out for Topps if it's happening.
Yeah, that's for me. That was another reason I kind of got out of it when Topps didn't have it anymore. I'm not a Topps like absolute, but I was not on board with what Panini was doing or is doing now. I like Panini baseball, but when it comes to football and basketball, it just looks like it is just such a huge money grab. And to me, it's kind of obvious. But what I kind of would hope is Topps still has Topps Now, because the Topps Now with football, and I hope they do it in the college and have the NIL rights to some of it, where like something happens today, somebody breaks a record, you have a card. With that record on it.
I think that would do really well in college, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Somebody kicks a game-winning field goal in the, Iron Bowl or something like that. That kicker's got a card now. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Those Alabama or Auburn fans are going to be lining up to get that type of stuff. So I think that'd be cool. We've got Panini Instant for those types of things. I don't think on the football end it's very popular at all. Not that Panini pushes it too much either, but if somebody's going to pay them $10 a card for a cheap card, they're going to keep pumping them out anyway. But they did get a little overwhelming. I don't want to misspeak, but I think this year's Prism Rainbow is pushing 40 cards, which is utter insanity. I did a rainbow for 2018 for Fred Warner. I had everything 101 all the way through, and it was 23 cards. I had it, and I sold most of it off, thankfully, and got good money for it. But I was just like, I can't. This is so many. Like, it's cool if I put a display up and it's just a row or something, but it's just, I got 3 colors of blue and some chartreuse, and it's getting ridiculous, guys.
Yeah, that's
skins, baseball. And this kind of gold and that kind of gold. They just want short printed stuff so they can keep pumping base out. And got a little extra for sure.
Yeah, that's somebody asked me today, are we in a junk era? And I was like, we're not, because of what you just said. They could put numbers on it and say, well, we have these short prints, and the base cards at that point don't count, I guess. So, but we have some questions here for you. Let's hit those. A lot of questions. I love this from our chat. Bart, question on where you put Leo. How do you say that last name?
Leo the Lion Namalini there.
Okay.
That's our first Hall of Famer. And our first 49er card was 48 Leaf.
Wow.
That was my first big football card that I ever bought too, was this rookie card. Geez, I want to say he's got like 10 all pros or something retarded consecutive. So I'll put him top 5 for sure. You know, we talked about it earlier in the show. It is tough to go across eras and stuff like that. And when you're saying Rice and Montana are on your team, and we got a whole host of other Hall of Famers.
Charles Haley.
So he might be number 3, but I don't want to commit to that one off the cuff, so I'm going to give him top 5 and go with that.
Ronnie Lott.
But I'm a big Nomalini fan for sure. I'm number 1 in his master set and all that crap too.
We got Carlos maybe breaking some news on my channel. It's not reporting, but there's a decent chance a Panini deal has been done for a while. Time will tell if something comes of that. Yeah, and then he says down here the advantage would be get a little sooner.
Yeah. My hope is that Fanatics buys all that up, and then instead of, you know, the flagship just getting so overproduced, it's ridiculous, that we see the branch offs and other sets. You know, hey, it can be Panini whatever or Topps whatever, but give me a couple more little variations to pick up that are different sets, all overall different look, as opposed to, you know, just this massive rainbow with the same picture, when half the time that picture of the rookie is, you know, from the pre-draft workout or from his college or something like that, as opposed to, you know, a live picture. Like, they just need to do better and spread it out a little bit better than that.
Yeah, and I know Fanatics. I have it's called a Locker Room here by Fanatics. It's they have in my mall. I have 2 lids. I have a Locker Room presented by Lids and a Lids, and in the Locker Room when it's like T-shirts and all of that stuff, and they have a whole baseball card display in there.
Nice.
So it already got it going for Topps. So I can go in there and get my blasters and stuff. Colorado says Leo's number 1 for him. What? Okay, and
is Colorado a wrestling guy as well?
Colorado, are you a wrestling?
Nomalini was a big wrestler as well. He was a pro wrestler as well.
Pro wrestler? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I love some pro wrestling.
And he played both sides of the ball and everything, so he was a big timer.
What's Bill Walsh's rookie card, and do you have his auto?
That's probably a good argument to be had for this one. In the registry sets, the rookie that counts, don't ask me why, but it's a cool card. It's a 93 Pinnacle, where he's sitting there in I don't know if he's wearing a tie or a bow tie or something like that, but black suit, and he's got 3 Lombardi trophies sitting in front of him, all black card and everything. That's after his coaching time. You know, the first time he shows up, I think, is a 1982 Fleer team action.
Yeah,
it's like a zoomed out of a locker room, and he's talking to the board, and then there's I think Joe Montana standing there and a couple other folks. I think that's the first time he pops up, but he's got like 84 and 85 49ers police cards as well. I do not have an auto of his. He never signed anything that I've seen that looked like it fit with other autos that I had in my collection, and his autograph literally looks like a 3rd grader. So those 2 combination things, okay, I was about to say maybe I do have an auto, because they had those old postcards, but I don't have one of his, I don't think. I got a lot of the other vintage guys on those, but I got a lot of Bill Walsh cards. I couldn't tell you what the real rookie is, but the registry gives 93 Pinnacle, so I'm going to take that one.
Gore, surefire Hall of Famer. He's loved in San Francisco.
First ballot.
I think so too.
He just his longevity, and now he's 16,000 yards into it.
Yeah,
and I think his scrimmage yards, he fell like 5 yards short of, I think, or something, single digit number of yards short of 20,000 scrimmage yards. But just the longevity and the sheer numbers went from, you know, Hall of Famer to first ballot in my book.
I forgot. I skipped this one. This is Rick had this as most important question: when will we see Bart at the National?
Hope next year. I went all in for the canceled one. I had everything reserved. I had the hotel, the passes, the rental car locked in, and everything 6 months in advance. And then the pandemic hit, and they canceled that sucker. And I move typically every 2 years, and so usually every other year I just started a new job or in the process of moving. So that one's usually difficult. Um, Technically that'll be happen again next year, but I don't care because I missed this one and I wanted to go pretty bad. But I treated the family to way too many vacations this year, and it just wasn't good timing for me to travel again for the national.
Well, Rick and the rest of the misfits, they'll make room for you.
Yeah, I'm in. I got top done.
I'm sorry, Colorado sports dude. Yeah, awesome or pardon my language, he was a badass is the reason why. Because he said number one 49er for being a champion wrestler, Marine, or in the military, and football player. That's why Colorado did. Okay, I got you, buddy. Yep. Didn't mean to misquote you there. So that's why I liked him. And hey, we like players for what they do on and off the field a lot of times. That's why I love Clemente so much. It's I didn't get to see him play, but get to see. Also, I mean, that's so. Another reason why I like Dallas is the second book report I ever wrote was on Randy White, and some of the stuff like him being
Maryland Terrapin, no big deal.
Yeah,
he's a Maryland Terrapin, no big deal.
Yeah, so yeah, there you go. And he was such a monster on the field. He was called Monster Man, all that, part monster, part man. But off the field, he's one of the nicest guys. Did a lot in the community and everything. So, and being in Dallas, a lot of those guys get labeled, as being a cowboy, and they're very like Hollywood Henderson type.
Have you ever met Tony Dorsett then? Because I've heard negative things about him.
No, I have not met Tony, but I'm sure. I've heard bad things about Michael Irvin, and then when I went to get his autograph, he came out. Everybody was chanting Cowboys and Irvin. He got the crowd pumped up, and he's a very religious guy now. And
really?
And every like father and son that came up there. I don't know if he had like something with his father or him and his son, but he kept asking if they were single fathers, and if they said they were, he would take his personal phone and take a picture with them, have his handler take a picture, and then they would get a free picture with him because he was charging people for pictures. And I mean, he talked his line moved so slow. He talked to everybody.
That's cool.
But he was very nice. Dion's Dion, but he did my buddy right when he was playing minor league baseball in the Yankees organization at Richmond Braves games. So it's hard for me to speak bad my buddy was dressed up like him because he loved Dion. So he had a big poster of him where he was wearing the Falcons stuff and part baseball, part football, and he skipped everybody and had him come down and sign his stuff, and then he hit an inside the park home run, and then pointed at us sitting in the crowd. So, that type of thing, that goes a long way with me. And all the stuff with Harper, I saw him play Double-A, rain delay. He stood out in a drizzling rain and signed every kid's autograph. One of the coaches had to come out and grab him. He said he wasn't going. They made him come into the
before he got the flu or something, right? Yeah, rain on.
Because and this is when he was like 18, 19 years old at Harrisonburg. So, these guys you hear stuff about, you don't know what they went through that day and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
they're real humans. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you got people all day long pestering them for autographs, and they, sometimes it just hits them wrong. You can't be perfect. So I'm sure Dorsett. I mean, this guy was called Tony Dorsett all the way through college, and then changed his name to Dorsett when he went to the pros. So, that to me,
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, you know, Joe Theismann did that too. He was Theismann until he was making a Heisman run, and then all of a sudden it was Theismann.
Yeah, there you go. I forgot about that one. Now, my dad met him at his church. He came and spoke at the church and at a men's group, and my dad said he's a great guy. And we sat there and talked to Ray Knight for a long time after a pregame show before the baseball game. He was doing the Nationals pregame, and we sat there and me and my dad talked to him for a long time. So some of these guys are very down to earth, and then some believe they're hype. And you know, I watched Reggie Jackson yell at Allen Iverson at the National a few years ago. That was great because he was late. That was hilarious.
That's worth the price of admission right there.
That was just because everybody talks about Reggie. Reggie treated me great, and he was kept being late and just pounded him. So before I let you go, Super Bowl champion 2023. Which will be this season. Got all that there.
I got Bills losing the Super Bowl. I don't even know who I got winning, but I got Bills losing. They got a good team.
Yeah, they do. A defense. Tight.
That means I got to pick an NFC winner too, huh?
You can flip a coin. You got a 16-sided dice.
Yeah. That one's a tough one.
I don't even think Dallas is going to win the NFC East, so I can't even pick them. So
who do you think's going to win that?
Me and my dad are kind of in the same boat. We both think the Eagles, but I also picked the Phillies to win the baseball. I think the Eagles just. I think they have a little bit better schedule lineup, and I think
this year's probably a step forward for them. I don't know if it's the year, but I think they'll step
there's nobody
forward.
else in the East.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't take much. They're going to get the division with 10-7 probably. So
yeah,
you're probably right.
Yeah. So it's the Redskins will be bad. The Giants will be really bad. So you got to pick somebody. So I mean, Tampa Bay's always got a shot when you got the GOAT. So.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be in it, right? But that's a lot of offensive linemen out and hurt right now, which is – I'm not a big Tom Brady fan, so I'm pretty happy about that. And then Gronk's not there, so it should be a more mediocre year for the Buccaneers, so I'm looking forward to that.
The NFC is who can ever stay healthy, probably. Jets are Super Bowl bound, probably watching from the stands, though. I hear you, Dave. The new look Dolphins.
The Jets are heading in the right direction, though, Dave. They're heading in the right direction.
Hey, they're in the right division.
There's definitely a reason for optimism in the Jets.
That division, that's kind of like the NFC East is where the AFC, you got what?
Well, they got the Bills.
Buffalo. Yeah, Buffalo twice.
They got Josh Allen sitting there for another decade, so that is pretty rough.
Yeah. And here in Winston-Salem, everybody's excited because they announced Baker Mayfield as a starting quarterback, and he played the Browns the first game. So,
can't make that up, right?
So
they knew what they were doing when they were scheduling that stuff.
Yeah, so that's been everybody. The sport world down here where I'm at. I'm only 45 minutes from Charlotte, so I might have to make a game or two this year.
AD chimed in on the Dolphins there. The Dolphins' offense is legit. The offense is there. They got the tight end. They got 2 wide receivers. They got a little running back game going there.
So did you see like Tyreek Hill? They ran like just a straight fly pattern right past 2 defenders and then got underthrown. It's like, holy cow.
They call him a cheater. They're going to need to teach him just to do some slants. He'll take some slants 80 yards, but Tua is not bombing them things out 50 yards. He's just not going to do it. And you have to, I mean, even if he is now, don't build the offense like that because that arm ain't going to stay that way for that long, right?
Right.
That youthful arm is going to slow it down on a regular basis in the coming years. So build an offense that you can consistently use. But they got the players, though. The offense is there. We'll see what the defense is if they can do anything because the Bills will probably still keep putting 40 on them. But
I'm excited for this season all the way around. I think The NFL is young, exciting. They know how to hype their players correctly. The MLB should learn and get some of those people over there to help them. So I want to thank you, Bart, sincerely for coming on with your knowledge.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is the first time me and Bart's talked to each other, and it's been incredible. I got to say I was a little nervous, Bart, knowing that I was going to have you on with the football, PSA knowledge, grading. You're one of the people that John talks about that we should be listening to in his hobby, and I do appreciate it again. So
thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. I look forward to talking to you more, whether live or not. Appreciate it.
Well, now we friended each other on every possible platform we can. Future is bright for us. And we're going to get into some shows, Rick. And so until next time, like, share, tell a friend. And I know all of y'all know who Bart is. Go check him out. Until next time, we'll see you.
Thanks, guys.